Okay, I'm going to do my realistic detached body daddy long legs using a Semperfli poly yarn in a medium dun. Okay, so here we go. First of all, just catch my thread. This is 8O Classic Wax in black. Just lay on a few turns onto the hook. In this case here, it is a Partridge G3A Sproat hook in a size 10. Now I like to put in a little wee tag. So what I'm going to use for my tag here is a Semperfli Pearl Yellow Fluorescent 1mm chenille. So catch this in, say roughly halfway down the hook, no further than that. And then I'm just going to take a couple of turns of this. And that'll form my fluorescent tag. You use different colours. I quite like the chartreuse, but I have to say I also like the red, and in some cases just Pearl Mirage. Now just a couple of locking turns in there just to make sure I've got that in place, and as you can see there, you can just brush that back and you get a nice fuzzy tag. Hit it with the torch and you'll see just how that shines. So next up, I'm going to take a section of the poly yarn. So I'll just take a length, say about maybe 3 inches long. And what I'm going to do with that there, actually, in its original state, it's just a little bit too thick. So I pretty much split it in half, or take about a third off, yeah, so leave myself 2/3, 1/3, yeah. And then I'll form the detached body. Now, this is dead easy. All we're doing with this here is if you grip it between the finger and thumb in your opposite hands, and then twist it away from itself. Now what I do is I twist it at one end, grip it, twist it, grip it, twist it, grip it. Keep doing that, yeah, making sure that it doesn't unwind, yeah. And then I grip and twist in the opposite direction at the opposite end, say 3-4 turns, yeah. And you'll see it starts to want to curl up in the centre. You just make sure you've got it in the middle there, and then let it twist together. And there you have your detached body using the poly yarn. Okay. Now to make it more realistic, I also give it a twist down through the body like that there, just to ensure that it's tight and you get a longer section. And to make it more realistic, what I like to do is take my cigarette lighter and then I just melt the end rather quickly, and you get that nice pointed, natural looking end for a daddy long legs or crane fly. Set the body length to how you'd like it. I like it just a little bit out past the back of the hook. A couple of turns just to lock that in place. And then I like to trim off the waist so it doesn't become too bulky, make the body too bulky. Leaving a little tag like so. Lock that down to make sure it's completely tied in. Bring my thread back up and then back forward. And you'll see there that I have left a bare section, which I'm now going to use some squirrel dubbing just to form the body. So I'll just dig out some natural squirrel. Pick a little bit out, dub it onto the thread, and then you'll see here that I've dubbed it away from the tail, so I'm now just going to wind that down there. So I've dubbed down, just covered all the thread turns I've put in there, brush it back a little section, and then just a couple of turns come forward. So basically what I've done is I've dubbed down and then I have ribbed back up again. Now we're into the legs, yeah. Pre-knotted legs, for me, just select a bunch. You can count in 3 either side if you like. I just make sure that I've got quite a lot. If you lay it on the top there and then split it like so, gather them together, make sure they're sticking out a good bit past the back of the tag there. Because it's a daddy long legs, you can get away with both knots showing, because you've got long legs on it. If it was a hopper, then I tend to just use the single knot. Excuse me. Trim off my waist, just make sure that's locked in place, and then I come into the wing. And again, I'm back using the section of polyarn that I've already pulled off. So that's the 1/3 of the actual polyarn itself that I've left over. Just fold it over like and singly like that. Take the lighter, melt and seal. Yeah. Go roughly what length of wing I'd like. So in this case here, probably about 1 inch long. Trim off the waist, leaving a small tag like so. And then again, I like to melt and seal. So both ends of the wing are sealed up, but it's left nice and hollow in the centre. Lay that on top of the fly. Just put in a single turn, loose turn, letting it sit. And then what I do is I twist it. So lay it across the top first, twist it. That one didn't catch right. If it does that, then just take it off. Yeah. Twist it round and then lock it in place with a figure 8. Yeah. So when you tie it in first, just make sure you have caught the wing in the middle where you want it. And then what I do is I then just drag it back, so it's a bit of a 45, but 2 or 3 turns in front, a bit more than that, maybe 5 or 6 in this case. And then that's me got the fly set. As you can see, the legs are scattered all over the place. You can pull them up, leave them dangling, whatever you like. So the final step for this fly for me is I like to use a furnace grizzle hackle or a ginger hackle. So this is a saddle hackle, and I'm going to keep it right at the very end for the longest section. And the longest fibres on the hackle itself. Lock that in place there. Trim off the stem. Take your hackle and fold it. Press it like that so it sits square. Yeah. That way, then when you start to wind it, then the hackle is going to sit up square, and then makes it easier, I feel, and nice and better finish for when you are drawing it back against itself. So each turn in front of the one before, more or less. Say maybe 5 turns there. Dropping a couple of locking turns. Take your scissors, leave your scissors just slightly open so you're not cutting. That way you're not taking any of the fibres of the hackle out. Push your scissors back and then draw all the loose fibres back and form the head. And I just like to make sure I've got all of them. Form the head of the fly, like so. Now take your finger and your thumbnail, if you grip the back of the collar of the hook and squeeze, then that will sit, forces it back, the thread back onto the hook itself, and forces the head, keeps everything nice and tight. Last step, I like to take a little drop of, in this case it's brush coat varnish from Vineyard. I'll drop a little bit on the thread like so, and then what I'll do is I shall then wind that onto the head of the fly, hook finish, yeah, 1, and I always do belt and braces, 2nd hook finish, 2, and then come in with my scissors, again keeping the tabs open, like so. Any stubborn fibres that you've got, like that one there, you just cut that out. Now you can have that as a finished fly, yeah, or if you want, you can trim the hackle underneath if you want it to lie flat on the surface. I've got them in both. To be fair, if I'm pulling the fly or I'm bouncing it across the surface, then I tend to have it the full hackle, and if I'm going to be fishing it static dry, then I tend to leave it with the hackle trimmed underside. If you want, just to finish the fly off completely, make sure that you've got the head cemented fully, then you can just come in with your dubbing needle and a tiny little drop of varnish on the needle. And that, guys, is your finished daddy long legs using Semperfli poly yarn as a detached body. Simple, very effective. The poly yarn floats. I still gink the fly, but to be fair, this thing will float all day. Hope you like that.